Can a college super team all get drafted in the first round? In 1990, a lot of things was in style. Hip-hop, Jordans, crack, the Doobie Flat Top, but nothing made more noise that year than the Arkansas Razorbacks. This team went 30-0. They was the #1 team in the country. They called themselves the Low End Five. This team had the National Player of the Year Ross Carter, who was putting up some crazy numbers. But that wasn't all, nigga. Rondo Regine, Josh Johnson, Akota Woods, and King Stanley were all considered first-round NBA prospects. They won the NCAA tournament with ease. Nobody could fuck with them niggas. It wasn't even close. And after that season, all the fellow low-ends decided to enter the 1990 NBA draft. Shit, why not? Everybody knew who the top 3 picks was gonna be. Miami was definitely picking Lou Jones #1. There wasn't no question about that. The Minnesota Timberwolves was gonna take Corey King #2. And New Orleans was getting another franchise player in Otis Mayfield at #3. Orlando had the 4th pick, but they fucking traded it to Seattle for 2 future first rounders. Like, that shit happened out of nowhere. The Sonics shocked everybody, taking Jordan Hutchinson with the 4th pick, making it a fucking family reunion in Seattle. I did not see that shit coming, man. The first Razorback off the board was Ross Carter, going #5 to the Flint Tropics. And Josh Johnson went right after him at #6 to go to State. Rondo got picked 14th overall by the Utah Stars, and Dakota Woods slipped all the way to the 23rd pick to Dallas. 4 first-round picks was definitely impressive, but there was one last member who didn't hear their name called that night: King Stanley, who went undrafted. Other notable players in this draft were Jedediah Malone, Jace Jordan, Pierre P90, we just gonna call him P90, Derek Smith, Leroy Johnson, Antonio Summers, and Jesse Kilpatrick. This episode, we are gonna fast forward a few seasons, so if I do not mention your character, then that nigga ain't doing shit, bitch. The rookies did okay this year, with Lou Jones being the best, averaging 22 and 10 a game, easily winning Rookie of the Year and making the All-NBA 3rd team. Ross Carter got injured his rookie season, but he still had a decent year in Flint with Earl Robinson, who made another fucking All-Star appearance. This nigga is really nice. The All-Star game was stacked with players from the 88 and 89 class. You see Craig Hardin making his first All-Star appearance and winning Most Improved Player of the Year. Okay, Craig. Malcolm Hutchinson, Michael St. Bartholomew, and Ricky Simmons also made their first All-Star appearances. The Seattle Sonics faced off against the Bulls in the 91 finals. The NBA decided to also make the playoffs a winner-go-home type of situation, and the finals was the best out of 3 to make things more intense. Michael Jordan took over in game 1. This motherfucker dropped like 40 points. It was like Seattle couldn't do shit right. Everybody on the bench was in awe. Stupid. But they knew what had to be done the next game, and they came prepared with dominant performances from Eddie Lowe and Malcolm Hutchinson, taking a clutch win at home. And game 3 was even better because Seattle blew out Chicago by fucking 20 points, giving the city of Seattle joy as they won the NBA title after 12 fucking years of shittiness. Eddie Lowe, Doobie Dawkins, and both of the Hutchinson brothers could add champion to their name. The 91 draft was probably one of the weakest drafts since 88, but they still had some of the decent prospects in that bitch though. Yeah, man. West Bank. Mo Robinson from Kansas went 1st overall to Orlando. He was a 7'1" big man with hella potential. Malcolm Smith Jr., who was a bench player on that stacked ass Arkansas team, went 2nd overall to Miami with Jimmy Macklin and Bernard Ward. Speaking of Bernard, his little brother went 9th overall to Houston, and I ain't even create this nigga. That shit crazy, baby. Callum Grant from Clemson was a good pickup at #26 to Philly, and Will Wells from Kentucky got picked up in the 2nd round by Flint. The 91-92 season was taken over by Eddie Lowe, who won MVP that year. Look, check this out, averaging 19 points, 14 rebounds, 7 assists. Look, a nigga ain't even done a steal and 2 blocks a game. That shit is crazy. Malcolm Smith Jr. won Rookie of the Year down there in Miami. And we have 2 players from the Low End 5 that made the All-Star team: Josh Johnson and Rondo Regine, who also won Most Improved. In that season, we seen a lot of trades. J.R. Baptiste was traded from Cleveland to Utah and became a first-time All-Star and made the All-Defensive Second Team at the age of 20. The Nets were done with the Marcus Aduba experiment, so they traded him to the New York Knicks, where he immediately became an All-Star, putting those buzz labels to rest. Purvis Namor and Eric Jackson randomly got traded to the Indiana Pacers. That's 2K. That's that 2K shit. The Warriors traded Fergus Crumble to the Baltimore Bullets, and that pissed La Ugly off, aka Michael St. Bartholomew. So he left the Warriors and went to the Orlando Magic. He shouldn't have did that shit. Right after this nigga left, the Warriors won the 1992 NBA Finals, making Josh Johnson the first low-end 5 member with an NBA championship. St. Bartholomew was mad as fuck that he left, but he couldn't stay mad for long because Orlando won it all in 93 after Bart had an impeccable season. Purvis Namor won his second MVP with Indiana that year, and Malcolm Hutchinson won Defensive Player of the Year. 94 was a lame ass season, I ain't gonna lie. The Bulls finally got a championship and Mike got his first ring at 32. Marcus Aduba won Most Improved. That was pretty dope. Oh, and something crazy happened in the offseason too. Weck then went ahead and hung it up after 5 years, man. The motherfucking injuries caught up with my dog, man. The 95 season was bussin'. There was a lot of shit going on. The young stars was beginning to take over the league quickly. Y'all remember CJ Jackson, right? He came in the league straight out of high school. He was about 6'4", 150 and some change type shit. Well, folks then went from 6'4" to damn near 6'8" since he been in the league. He was averaging 16 a game, shooting 39% from 3, also winning Most Improved. Miami finally had a loaded contending team, and they picked up Earl Robinson, who basically fell off and never was the same since the 91 season. Almost every fan was on the edge of their seats watching this new Baltimore-Utah rival. Both teams had young high school stars who was just starting to develop now that they hit their mid-20s. Utah was stacked with J.R. Baptiste, Rondo Regine, and a newly added B.J. Dove. And Baltimore had Craig Hardin, Ermias Agul, Fergus Crumble, and they had creepy Karl Malone. J.R. Baptiste took home the MVP of the 95 season, and Utah and Baltimore met in the finals. It was a good-ass series, but Utah could not contain Craig Hardin, and the Baltimore Bullets would go on to win the 1995 NBA Finals. J.R. Baptiste definitely did his thing, and by the look on his face, this shit ain't over between him and Craig. The man who inspired him to come to the league was not his arch nemesis, and you won't believe who was on this fucking Bullets team. Kyle motherfucking Washington. And this nigga was on the Bulls team that won the year before that. This nigga got 3 rings. In the offseason, the NBA added 2 expansion teams to Toronto and Vancouver. We see Walter Jones retiring at 28 after 5 years of nothing. At the time, the low-end 5 only had a couple successful players in the league. Ross Carter was doing okay in Flint with career averages of 15 and 7. He was only awarded for being on the all-rookie second team, but he was still a solid player. Josh Johnson was a top 5 big man in the league, 18 and 12 for his career average, and he was a 3-time All-Star, champion, and an All-NBA player. Rondo was a 2-time All-Star and one of the best guards in the league at 25, averaging 17 a game. And lastly, Akota Woods. This man was out of the league after playing for 4 years. He just never really did shit. He found his way out of the league at 26 and went to play overseas.